Hello, I am Patricia Wickman and I am Ayurvedic Doctor Level Certified, and I'm the director of the Radiant Living Academy of Ayurveda. In a moment, I will be sharing clips from a masterclass called Ignite that Dr. Dhanada Kulkarni and I recorded called Ignite, and the topic is metabolism and specifically the concept of Agni in Ayurveda. I am not including the clips on the 5-element theory and the doshas because it became too complicated. So I'm going to record those topics separately because they deserve a whole class in and of themselves. Please stay tuned for more of my videos. I am just getting started with creating a YouTube classroom and podcast. I'm really excited about this. I want to throw my hat in the mix because I've had some incredible experiences with clients and students over the past 2 decades that I've been doing this, and I hope that it will be a benefit to anyone who takes time to watch. I've recently been contemplating why I persist in teaching people about Ayurveda, and what it boils down to is that I want to play whatever role I can to help ease people's suffering. While the world is in crisis and climate is in collapse, here I am at my recording station shining my light. I'm so happy that you are using your precious time to listen to the essential teachings from the ancients as they are shined through my personal prism. Maybe you will resonate with my unique way of distributing the rainbow colors of Ayurveda. Please be patient with any errors. What I'm teaching is to the best of my current knowledge. I am confident that as you learn about and apply Ayurveda, you will experience enhanced vitality and greater joy in your embodiment. I would like to express gratitude for all of my teachers and mentors who have nurtured me along my own path. Thank you so much. I'm so deeply grateful. One last note is that it is important for you to get one-on-one time with an Ayurvedic professional. These classes are for general purposes, and a practitioner will tailor your program to address your individual needs. Finally, it will be so kind if you like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I also welcome your comments and will do my best to engage with you. So thank you for watching and enjoy our class. Welcome to today's Ayurvedic Masterclass Ignite. Are y'all excited to ignite this morning? Woo!
It's a lovely morning here in Texas.
We are so happy you are here with us. I'm Patricia Wickman. I am Ayurvedic Doctor Level Certified. I'm honored to be here today with Dr. Dhanada Kulkarni.
Namaste, everyone. I am Vedacharya Dr. Dhanada Kulkarni. I'm classically trained Ayurved physician from India. We wholeheartedly, first of all, want to welcome you.
In this class, we will introduce you to the Ayurvedic perspective on metabolism. We will discuss the concept of Agni, which you will see encompasses so much more than just metabolism. In this webinar, we are going to give you 5 golden secrets of Ayurvedic wisdom to safely and effectively stoke your metabolism this fall so that you will look and feel your best in time for the holiday season. We will help you understand your uniqueness in a whole new way. Those of you who are completely new to Ayurveda will have your minds blown, and you won't ever be able to think of anything in the same way after just this webinar this morning. We can only cover a teeny tiny amount of everything Ayurveda has to offer. We are here today to whet your appetite, to expand your understanding through further study and application. So put your napkins on your lap and grab your utensils because this is going to be a real feast. On today's menu is a discussion of the limitations of a one-size-fits-all approach to optimizing metabolism, what Agni is and what it has to do with metabolism, 3 metabolic types according to your Ayurvedic constitution, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, 4 states of Agni, or your metabolic tendencies, what it feels and looks like when your distinct digestion, metabolism, absorption, and utilization of nutrients is functioning well, how to identify signs of compromised metabolism and the resulting accumulation of toxins that lead to discomfort and distress. We're going to talk about what to do, what not to do to help Agni function well. And then we'll share those 5 golden secrets for a safe at-home detox or a reboot that you can do this fall, and then provide information on how you can go deeper with your education. At the end, we'll have some drawings for some prizes for some Ayurvedic products, and then we can have a Q&A. Just a little bit about us. Dr. Dhanada, will you please tell us about yourself?
I hope you got excited in our menu. I have been practicing in United States for last 30 years almost now. I have been involved in quiet Ayurvedic world, doing so many great projects, starting from education to research to allied health. I will be soon a doctorate in Chinese medicine and acupuncture, and will be pursuing my PhD in public health. Today, we also would like you to come back, visit us. Patricia will be sharing you most of the developments that we both are trying to do together for the better wisdom coming in the world of United States through ancient Ayurveda.
I am Patricia Wickman. I've gone as far as a person can go with my education here in the United States. I've also done continuing education in India. I stumbled on yoga when I was 17 years old. At the time, I was struggling with severe anxiety, body dysmorphia, and food issues, and yoga was a godsend for me. I would be uncomfortable in my body, and then for the 60 minutes in yoga class, I experienced relief. So I knew from a teenager that there was something special about these Vedic sciences. I learned about Ayurveda during my yoga teacher training in 2004, and Ayurveda, yoga, and other holistic modalities have been my trusty companions over all the happy and dark times. For instance, yoga really helped in recovery after my brother passed away of lymphoma, and then Ayurveda and yoga were both with me as I was having babies and navigating those interesting and wonderful waters of being a parent. And also, I've witnessed hundreds of success stories as I've worked with clients, people who have used Ayurveda to help with autoimmune diseases, respiratory illnesses, hormone imbalance, musculoskeletal problems, skin diseases, infertility. I have a lot of women out there that I've helped conceive babies, and so those babies, I call them my Ayur babies. I've helped people solve insomnia, mental health issues, which is one of my favorite things to work with and dear to my heart because of experiencing my own mental health issues. Like I said, it can help people overcome or move through grief and trauma. And then today, especially, we're talking about digestive ailments. So not only is this going to help if you already have a pretty good digestion, it's going to just level you up. But if you happen to be in here today and you have serious digestive issues, Ayurveda has so much to offer to feel better. Now let's dig into our main course. In preparing for this, I just Googled metabolism, and AI said metabolism is responsible for converting nutrients from the foods we eat into fuel. And this provides our bodies with energy it needs to breathe, move, digest food, circulate blood, repair damaged tissues and cells, and perform every other function of the body. The word metabolism is also used to describe our basal metabolic rate, which is the number of calories we burn while we are at rest. Okay, so then I looked at the top click for how to optimize metabolism, and an article from Healthline popped up. It said 8 ways that may speed up your metabolism. Eat plenty of protein at each meal, and you can Google this and read the details. I thought it was pretty interesting. Do a high intensity workout, lift heavy things, stand up more, drink green tea or oolong tea, eat spicy foods, get a good night's sleep, and drink coffee. So these are evidence-based ways, meaning that they've proven to be clinically relevant. They've been researched, tested, critically appraised by experts, and applied over and over with the same results. So that's a good start, but it has some problems. How many of you here would get heartburn, reflux, and other negative symptoms if you eat spicy food? Some of us can't really do that. And then some of us, when we have caffeine, it will aggravate symptoms like anxiety, restlessness, or insomnia. So that won't work for some people. And then some people might have injuries that prevent them from doing high intensity workouts, right? So we have to find workarounds for that type of thing. So none of this accounts for things like your geographical location, your age, what season it's in, let alone your own individual constitution, which is what Dr. Dhanada is going to get us started on.
Within the structure that we had education of organic chemistry or biology or physics, what we have learned, and we have always given understanding of seeing it through the evidence-based studies. Don't you all agree with me? You will find there are a lot of evidence-based studies on metabolism. It's not that they are failure, but at the chronic disease level where you are looking at chemotherapy or you're looking at more advanced autoimmune diseases, you will feel like these are having their limitations. And the person beyond that couldn't find solutions or couldn't find results. So the message I want to give is that you have to take a fresh pair of glasses today and leave your knowledge where you coming from, all of these education, and open heart to know how to look you as a same animal as nature. You are a blessed person, as good as the birds, the insects, the cats, the dogs, the elephants, and all other animals. And you're just living with them. You're not apart from them. Okay. People used to live in nature. Before civilization, we were actually living on the mountains, in the caves. You are not different. We may be intellectual people, we may have a different brain, but we are all same. We have same nose, same eyes, same ears, and probably how this science would have given from that infinite understanding to look yourself that you are as unique as a star into the sky. Every star in the sky has its own individuality. And that individuality is something very dear to Ayurvedic medicine. Second name of it is personalized or individualized medicine. It is very important for you to know the motto of Ayurveda. You know why it depends. It depends means, let's say if Bridget comes to me and she says, well, you have given a great talk. Now I want to find out what I want to do about it. How do I find the solutions? I would say, well, it depends on your Prakriti, which is your constitution. It depends on your Agni, which is your metabolism. It depends on what you eat. It depends on what season you are in. It depends on what age group. I have to consider all of this. It depends to let you know what we do in Ayurveda. And it is very important for you to know how to relate to this core concept of Ayurveda. The science of Ayurveda doesn't see it like one Tylenol for all fevers. So if you imagine you have a fever, you go to the doctor and then you get Tylenol prescribed, ibuprofen prescribed. But in Ayurveda, two fever with a two different person is a different constitution, different causes, different age group, different temperament, their stress level, everything is different. And we do not approach the same way that Western medicine approach. And that might be the reason after so many people have time tested both medicines, they know the value coming from both medicines. I'm not here to devalue any medicine, but I'm trying to see the long-term effect of what you want to do to your metabolism, because that's key. So Ayurveda does not see the one-size-fits-all approach. The reason I have ordered the new fresh pair of glasses to all of us today, can we call it Ayurveda lenses? Okay. So let's take Ayurveda lenses together.
Thank you. I love it. I've got my Ayurvedic lenses on.
Great. Oh, yes, Michael, I see you. Yep.
Love it.
So remember today, if you take this knowledge and try to read on other platforms, it's a huge complex knowledge. You would be like mind boggling. What did she told me? I don't understand. Don't worry. We have so much in-depth understanding. You can always come with questions. So go ahead, Patricia. I just wanted to make sure they're on the same page with us.
Terminology for Ayurveda is in Sanskrit because this originates from ancient teachings of India, Sanskrit being the language. The Sanskrit word Agni, the same as the Latin word ignis, means fire. Agni and ignis are related to the English word ignite. According to the 5th century BCE Sanskrit text Nirukta Nighantu, the sage Shakapuni states the word Agni is derived from 3 verbs. The letter A is from the root E, which implies to go. The letter G is from the root Anya, meaning to shine, or Da, meaning to burn. The root Ni means to lead or to carry. This denotes that Agni moves everywhere and metamorphoses substances, burns, assimilates, glitters, and grows. The term Agni appears throughout the classical texts of Ayurveda. For the purpose of today's topic, Agni encompasses all factors responsible for digestion, metabolism, and transformation. The concept of Agni appears to encompass how different hormones, as described in modern medicine, affect our body's metabolism. Thyroid hormone is going to regulate metabolism and growth, right? We all have heard if we have low thyroidism, we can gain weight. Hyperthyroidism, we can lose weight. Insulin is produced by the pancreas and allows cells to absorb sugar and use it for energy. Leptin is a hormone that tells us when we are full, and ghrelin tells the brain when we are hungry. So both have a bearing on body weight. And you'll see that with the digestive aspect of Agni, it's very much like that. And then glucagon-like peptide 1 is a hormone that increases feelings of fullness and reduces food intake. These are just some of the main hormones that have some similar actions to what's described with regards to the digestive aspect of Agni. Cortisol is released during stress and it affects metabolism of fat and carbohydrates. Cortisol is interesting because for some people, when they're under stress, they can get more snacky and eat more and gain weight. And some people are the opposite. The stress hormones have a real degenerative effect, right? And they can develop things like sudden weight loss and arthritic conditions, neurological conditions. So these are all really highlighted in Ayurvedic medicine, whereas those differences might not be as highlighted in modern medicine. Testosterone and progesterone play important roles in metabolism as well. So I want you to be thinking about that, especially anybody who is in here today who is concerned about hormone imbalance, right? And we should all be mindful of it, if not concerned. Hormones affect every aspect of our physiology. So think about that when people are like hormones this, hormones that, and you hear the word Agni and some of the ideas in that, just keep the relationship in mind there.
Okay, so now what we want to do is we want you to understand this core concept of Agni. Agni is Ayurveda's concept where it is called metabolism, but you will learn today that it's not just the definition apple to apple of a metabolism. It's much more than that. In Ayurvedic world, we have 3 main constitutions, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. You will see how you should find those signs and symptoms or the notifications that comes to you. How do You get like your iPhone or your Androids notification if somebody messaged you. Our body has those notifications through Agni, through metabolic process. And that is depend upon each constitution, how you are by birth having that prakruti, your constitution. Then there are 4 types of Agnis depending upon your appetite. It's like a intensity level. And then we will be learning the role that Agni plays in your digestion. So, once you eat something, fried chicken versus a donut, or you eat a banana, what Agni has to do, how much energy Agni has to give you, how much it has to be flared, that is measured beautifully in Ayurveda. So you will learn how the absorption, which is very vast knowledge in Ayurveda. It's not like within this 60 minutes, you're not going to master it, obviously. We're just going to give you the idea. But if you want to learn, we have so many other classes coming. I want you all close your eyes and imagine Agni. If somebody asks you about fire, close your eyes and see one word that comes in your mind about fire. Camping, yes, camping. What happens in camping? We lit the fire. Sun, I like it. Andy says roaring fires, wonderful. Heat, heating, radiance, okay? Keep coming. Warmth, wonderful, wonderful. Combustion of a car engine. Okay, that's very creative. Okay, what else is coming? Bright. I like bright, Veena. Okay, Sarah says conversion. Okay, okay, I can take that. What else? What else coming in your mind? Come on, hot. I like it. Fusion, nuclear reaction. Wow, wow. Okay, ash. Wow. So burnout. Yeah, I like it. So all of this, what you said is not wrong. Okay. Energy. I like energy. Light, transformation, energy. These all what you have just said is correct. Okay. But this is all, like I said, your educational understanding for contemplating in your mind. If you ask somebody who is an elementary school person, they would say fire is a fire engine, or burning flames, they would say. It's a basic understand. So the contemplation of what you see comes from your previous knowledge and education. But if you learn Ayurveda, like myself or Patricia, almost invested 10 plus years into this, if you ask us what is that fire, we will tell you fire, the dot in your eyes that very first in the morning when you get up and gives that brightness. The fire to a Vedic person or a person like us who's learned Ayurveda has that warmth, comes on your cheek when somebody compliments you or you are in the snow zone and you get rosy cheeky rose cheeks, that warmth comes. That is fire. The fire in you when you get angry, when you are like that Snickers advertise, when you are so hungry that you change your face, you change your attitude, that is Agni or a fire. For us, the appetite that you get, you're so hungry, is a fire. The fire in us is when you eat a banana and at the end of the day, it turns into potassium in the micronutrient level and it turns into calcium for you. That function is Agni. That function is fire for us. So every cell that has a nucleus or that has a mitochondria, and it gives you that pulsation. The heart gives you that pulsation. How do you know a person is alive or dead? Because they're Agni, okay? Because of their fire, because the whole existence of yours is based on this Agni. I hope you are understanding what I said. So just remember, the Agni is resembled for fire, but it has much more than that. Got it? You all are on the same page. Just say hello, hi to me on your screen if you agree with me, if you understand what is Agni. Got it? Wonderful, wonderful. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Go ahead, Patricia.
Thank you. So there are
three big categories that are described in the classical texts of Ayurveda regarding Agni. But for today, we're going to focus mainly on the digestive component, and that is referred to as Jakara Agni. It is the metabolic fire that's present in the GI tract, and it's specifically this area that you see in this slide. I didn't put the full body, but hopefully you know where your stomach is, and you can just be relating this to yourself. Put your hands on your stomach and be like, okay, this is what she's talking about. So it's the greater curvature of the stomach and the first part of the small intestine called the duodenum. I'll just take my arrow here. Here's the greater curvature of the stomach. And then the first part of the small intestine is this area here, the duodenum. And you can see this would be where all the stomach acids are being secreted. And then this is the gallbladder here, and the pancreas is depicted in yellow and orange. They have certain enzymes that are going to be squirted onto the food after it gets out of the stomach. There's this little hole here, pretty cool name called the ampulla of Vater, and sphincter of Oddi is gonna open that, and then those enzymes are going to be squirted onto what was your food. This is the region in which the central metabolic fire is active. In anatomy books, they're not going to say this is Agni here, but you have to use your imagination. This is the area where you've got your campfire, and it has all of the elements that a campfire needs to be functioning. You need the oxygen and the fuel, you need the logs, you need the spark. All of that is happening in this area. Here is where things get really interesting when it comes to the divergence of modern and Ayurvedic conceptions of metabolism. In order to know how to foster fantastic metabolism, you have to assess your unique metabolic thumbprint. Just like we have our unique fingerprints, we have our own Agni thumbprint. And this isn't just physical. Again, it's like if we're stars radiating Agni, it's how unique our star is at all levels: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. As I describe the three constitutions and the four accompanying types of metabolism, consider yourself within this context. Like, I wonder what I am.
So, how many of you know in Ayurveda there are three metabolic or three energy or three constitution, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha? How many of you are familiar with this term of Vata, Pitta, Kapha? And if you are, just put in the chat VPK, yay, VPK, yes, VPK, wonderful. Okay, everybody is understand VPK, but today, we going to widen that lens. Remember, you still have that lens on or not? Yes? Okay, just say yes if you have it on. I need to see that is on because we're going to use it right now, okay? The air and space makes Vata, the fire and water makes Pitta, and Kapha is earth and water.
We're going to have a predominance of either Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. And we all have all five elements, but me, for example, I'm about 45% Vata, air and space. And then I'm about 40% Pitta, fire and water. And then I've got an itty bitty part of Kapha. We all have like that itty bitty third component. Ayurveda describes four metabolic types: high or intense fire, slow or dull fire, irregular or erratic fire, and balanced fire. High or intense fire very quickly digests food. Everybody knows if you eat corn on the cob, you can see how long it takes because you can still see it in your stool. So some people will have a really quick transit time for that corn, and other people slower. The person needs to eat frequently and in high quantities to appease their high appetite. It produces dryness in the throat, palate, and lips, and burning sensation, pyrexia, increased sensation of heat, loose, hot, and frequent stools, and ultimately the person can lose weight because the fire starts to digest the tissues. This type of metabolism can be present in Pitta predominant people who are in a state of imbalance. Low or slow fire. A person with slow or dull fire takes a long time to digest even a small quantity of food, and they experience heaviness in the abdomen and the head, along with coughing, dyspnea, difficulty breathing, salivation, vomiting, and lassitude in the body, stubborn weight or weight gain, and the type of constipation where there is a bulky backup that is not passing. It just feels like we have stuff stuck all throughout our intestines. If the person takes a laxative, the stool will fill up the toilet.
So the great example for low Agni is sometimes people do not really care about eating anything, right from breakfast till the end. They can even go without food for 2 days, 3 days. And that is Manda Agni, where they do not have that ability to transform something faster. So these people get hungry and they just eat because it's time to eat. They're not truly really hungry. They also could get false hunger because the dampness is covering them, and that's why they are more problematic in thinking about like, okay, I want to eat or I do not want to eat. And that's why they overeat also sometimes, because there's no proper signal coming in for themselves. Make sense? Right?
This type of metabolism is present in a kapha predominant person who is in an imbalanced state. Irregular fire. Signs of an irregular or erratic fire include abdominal distension, the measurement of the waist increases, colic or pain, alternating constipation and diarrhea, or just constipation, heaviness in the abdomen, borborygmi or rumbling, and tenesmus, which is rectal pain. It gives you the feeling that you need to have a bowel movement, even if you've already had one. And when you have tenesmus, you might strain harder to produce only a small amount of stool during bowel movements. There can also be hard, dry stool, and the constipation can be severe. If the person takes a strong laxative, the stool will come out in small quantities and in fits and starts. Bowel movements can be very sudden and forceful with loud sounds, followed by another period of constipation until they take another strong laxative. This type of metabolism is present in a Vata predominant person who is in a state of imbalance. This is my default. Since I was a kid, I could remember sometimes being constipated and then sometimes having diarrhea, sometimes having a high appetite, sometimes low. As a kid, I was like flying everywhere, just very hyperactive, jumping on the trampoline and running around the neighborhood and forgetting to eat and then getting super hungry and eating a bunch all at once. So those are things I was kind of born with inherently and continue with me. And so my first Ayurvedic practitioner said, I said, I'm feeling really anxious in the afternoon times with my kids. I was like, I get this like, ooh, like around 4 o'clock. And she said, oh, you must be skipping lunch. And I was like, how did you know? So that was my first assignment, eat lunch at the same time every day. What she was trying to do without going into too much depth in an appointment was help me get my Agni more regular. And who knew that that would make me a better mom? That one thing, just eating lunch at the same time every day.
That's a great example, because all of we learn through our own understanding and feelings about it. So I always say Ayurveda is a science of experience rather than evidence based. Okay. You have to experience that. It's a great example. I really loved it because it can happen to many women, or even I have seen boys more eaters at the dinner time. They eat like all of these because all day long they work so hard, and at the end of the day it's just sitting and so much eating. That's definitely an issue with the low and high Agni.
So we've got high, low, irregular, and then wow, it's possible to be balanced. Signs of balanced fire include a feeling of lightness, feeling energetic, the absence of the symptoms associated with the other types of fire, a bowel movement at the same time every day. This type of metabolism can be a happy reality for anyone, regardless of dosha, when we are in a balanced state. Note that there will still be traces of normal dosha qualities. Vata predominant people will have one bowel movement per day instead of just a few per week, and it will be a small banana shape and feel like a complete evacuation. Pitta predominant people may still have more than one bowel movement per day, but it won't be diarrhea and there won't be any burning or out of control appetite. Kapha predominant people will have a large banana and the transit time is naturally slower because earth and water travel more slowly than fire and air. But we do want to see a poop every day, and we want to see it be banana shaped. We call it the gold standard poop in Ayurveda, like banana shaped, milk chocolate color. You can't see the food in it. It's just like one smooth consistency. When you poop, it doesn't stick to your colon and rectum when it comes out. It just slides out and it's easy to wipe and doesn't leave streaks in the toilet. So think about that. How is your poop? Is it gold standard? Is it silver? Is it bronze? Does it not even place in the Olympics? We want to have that daily bowel movement, and this can happen for anybody. You don't have to be a certain dosha to achieve this. I'm living proof of that with the kind of vata imbalance tendencies. I do know what I need to do with my daily routine and my nutrition so I can get that healthy gold standard poop every day. And I've been able to do it if I stay on my routine. If I don't, then I have problems.
According to Ayurvedic medicine, the digestion should move from one organ to the next within 3 to 4 hours. And that's probably also the Western medicine has calculated after looking into pathophysiology, I would say. Right?
Yeah, but even that would be a little bit different for every person. Each of us tends toward one of these types of fire. Which one is your long-term pattern? Is your short-term state within the last month to a year different from your norm? Okay.
I really want to add one thing here, Patricia. I like the way you gave the example. The reason we physicians talked about poop, because I always tell that is something, a very golden sign for how's your metabolism, digestion, or your even total health. And that's why when you come to see us one-on-one, we would tell the timings you poop and the way that you poop and the colors of the pooping. That's why Patricia explained that so much, because these are pathophysiological signs and diagnostic points that we use to heal you or to help you further. A balanced fire, in my view, is not just these symptoms, but beyond that. Somebody's focus is really good. Somebody's buddhi, which is intellectual power, is really good. The retention power of that memory is really good. Somebody is military person, their appetite is bad, they have six packs, the work they're doing at his exalted position, they're very productive. Not everybody is military, but you have to kind of imagine like that for your own world, that you are up to the toes, very productive, very focused, and that is called youth restored in you, which is a balancing. So it might be sometime trying to cook and you are humming, and you're going out and you're walking and you are exercising regularly, you are happy, your skin looks best, you are away from any kind of disalignments. All of that could be sign of your best metabolism. But if you have any thyroid thing going on, if you have any hormone thing that is bothering you in your whole picture of the journey, then the first thing that Ayurveda physician would do is talk about your Agni. And in our medicine, we say that every single disease comes through unbalanced Agni. That is why the verse of Sanskrit, Sarve Roga Mandagno. Sarve is everything, all. Roga is kinds of diseases or imbalances. Mandagno, which is diminished power or no power of this digestion process or metabolism. The ability to transform anything psychologically, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of that diminish. What will happen? I am not able to transform the information that I'm taking and putting into myself to comprehend what I am speaking. It's called mental Agni block in Ayurveda. Okay, then when it comes to physical, if I eat some lunch, that is why choosing the food according to your Agni, your ignition, is most important. So imagine if your car is not getting ignited, it can't run, it cannot transform the fuel into energy to run. Simple, right? So it's exactly like you were not able to ignite your car. What will be happening? That's what happened to your body. And then it's a stagnation. Remember, when you cannot transform anything in your body, it's like it's dead. So anything that you eat just being blocked in your system and not being able to transform into energy, that is going to be a block, and that converts into ama. And then somewhere you have headaches, flu-like symptom, fever, joint pain, that sluggishness, you're a couch potato. All of that happens because there is some kind of a block, stagnation is happening. Makes sense? So when you start the transformation, many of the modern day physician would tell you, oh, start doing exercise every day, start doing spicy eating, and all of that what Patricia just gave you. But in Ayurveda, we just don't do random. Like if Durga is coming and saying, hey, I want blah 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 doing, then I would say, okay, Durga, what age group are you in? What specific need you are in? What stress level you have? What kind of environment you are living in? I have to take that all into account and then suggest her what kind of good spices, diet change, lifestyle change, special need for herself. If we could add something or delete something, that depends upon all of that metabolism idea she is giving. So it is one of the diagnostic tool also in Ayurveda we use for people to understand where they stand into their optimal health spectrum.
Yes.
Okay. So everybody is getting ignited. They're getting hungry for their lunch, and definitely having this information sucked up into them mentally as well, right? Michael, are you ready to eat, or you already did? I think you did. I saw you did. You're Agni. I was watching you, watching you. No worries, no worries. The whole presentation making me hungry. Yes, hungry for more education, hungry for food, and hungry for more understanding of these complex philosophies. I love it. I am going to save that.
Ayurveda provides a vivid description of how toxins form. The person is exposed to dietary, lifestyle, psychological, and environmental causes. This leads to imbalanced vata, pitta, or kapha. Most of the time, all three doshas are involved to varying degrees. Exposure to the causes and resulting imbalanced doshas can lead to low agni, and inability to digest and utilize the nutrients from food. Low metabolic fire in our stomach and the first part of our small intestine results in poor digestion, metabolism and absorption, and utilization of our nutrients from our food. The incompletely digested food turns into ama, which is a morbid, sticky, and stubborn substance that clogs channels.
You'll hear it described as like putrid butter or oil that's gone rancid. It's a very sticky, stubborn, physical substance. It's something that you can see, like things adhering to the inside of the vessels.
The incompletely digested food particles irritate the lining of the small intestine and bog down the villi, the finger-like projections that help food cross the intestinal wall and get into the bloodstream. This is the equivalent to modern descriptions of leaky gut syndrome. The immune system reacts to these foreign bodies going into circulation and launches an inflammatory attack.
So when we talk about inflammation in modern medicine, this is how it's described in the classical texts of Ayurveda. It's described as this formation of ama, and then it creates the immune system response.
If this process occurs habitually, the inflammation becomes chronic and establishes itself in vulnerable areas or systems of the body that leads to chronic inflammation and disease. Plasma, interstitial fluid, and lymph are the first tissues that form from the essence of our food. So they get first access to the imbalanced doshas and ama. Ama mixed with plasma has the consistency of lumpy gravy. The starting point for the vessels that carry plasma is at the heart and the vessels connected to the heart. The heart is the first organ that is affected by morbid plasma. Imagine the heart trying to pump this sticky, lumpy substance through it into the arteries. The ama-laden plasma circulates through the heart and all the blood vessels, exposing the whole cardiovascular system to the lumpy gravy, which aggravates circulation, producing pain because lumpy gravy doesn't circulate easily. If there is chronic production of ama, then the structures and the functions of the heart and blood vessels become compromised. This also causes glitches in the circulation of red blood cells, which are trying to deliver oxygen to the cells. The ama qualities of sticky and heaviness impede this process. Not only does it cause problems in the functioning of the vessels, but the structure of vessels themselves can start to get ruined.
And it gets into all of the other tissues ultimately the longer it goes on.
Depending on the particular vulnerabilities of the individual, this produces various forms of disease.
For some people, it is a block in the joints called arthritis. Some people, it's a block in their arteries called high cholesterol. Some people, it's a block in their blood pressure, high blood pressure. Or some people translate it into the stones in their gallbladder or their kidney. So in Ayurveda, you see everything narrows down to your blocks. We call it the systems, like your circulatory system, your lymphatic system, your reproductive system, your urinary system. Somebody's having gout, somebody's having autoimmune disorder, somebody's having IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, or menstruational problems, PCODs, and a lot of all other kinds of diseases in Ayurveda narrows down to the low Agni. But the idea that block of the Agni or the dampness coming in is a basic pathophysiology that an Ayurveda person would look into.
That's how we describe the start of all diseases, is through this inflammatory response, which is low Agni, high ama.
How can we identify signs of compromised metabolism and the resulting accumulation of toxins that lead to discomfort and distress? Signs and symptoms of ama: obstruction of channels, engorgement, stagnation, delayed peristalsis, loss of strength, heaviness throughout the body, sluggish mind, lack of energy, heaviness in the body, obstruction of the movement of air, or the activities of the nervous system. One illustration of this is when gas is not moving freely, resulting in gas bubbles. It can feel like there is something stuck in the digestive tract. It is not moving freely because of obstruction caused by ama. The person feels heavy, bloated, and with abdominal distension. It increases uneasiness and buildup of pressure. It can also result in bladder pain and difficulty in urinating, dullness and sleepiness and exhaustion, incomplete digestion and excessive salivation, lack of taste or appetite. So not feeling hungry when it's time to eat and not really being able to taste your food or enjoy it.
What happens if you do not have that ignition, right? It's super easy to understand when you are not having good food quality or nutrition translating into your system. Obviously, you're not getting that strength that you need mentally and physically, okay? So you get irritated by someone giving you some lecture or your boss or deadlines. You can easily get irritated. For me, that is my first sign, like, okay, I need to back off and see where I am. So another thing is, if your food is not transforming, and if you kind of like dumping every day without understanding, like, I have appetite or not, that could be the case where the heaviness comes in your system, right? That you're just eating because it's time for eat. Obstructions of movement, basically There's a lot of bloating, diarrhea, or even the constipation, which feels into the incomplete digestion. Some people have given me ama symptoms as a burping. All the time they have these burps coming up. And then they with the food smell, they without food smell, they're belching, and then it converts later into acid reflux or headaches. Very common. This is like we're giving you Ayurvedic diagnostic tools to ask anyone if they have all of these. That means they really need to recheck their digestion. Okay. I like some of you are like taking notes, and if you have any questions, please write that down. Excessive salivation and excessive mucus. You know why that comes? Because the dumping process of that food. I want you to imagine going on vacation. I mean, that's a very good situation. Okay. Are you going on, going on a vacation, but you cooked something so big, let's say rice or noodles or even some meat, something, and then you kept on your kitchen counter and you come after a month. What's going to happen to that food? Or even just water. If you keep the bigger container and the water is filled into that for a month, what's going to happen? When you come back, either it is rotten, it will have smell, and you throw the water. But if you look at the vessel inside, there's this sticky kind of mucusy thing that you are not able to wash, the greasy kind of a thing. That's exactly what is happening to your epithelial cells. The whole body inside is connective tissues and epithelial cells, which I hope some of you understand. If you don't, then it's just a fact that these type of cells make the food particle malleable inside, but they become kind of these mucousy oozing substance. That mucousy oozing substance can create more mucus, create more nausea, less appetite for yourself. And in Ayurvedic medicine, we say that your tongue is a mirror of your digestion. So we have a whole new chapter and module to teach about tongue diagnostics. And that is also in Chinese medicine. And that's why we don't send you like other modern physician would send you to the lab, do the blood work, do the blah, blah, blah. What we have is you. Okay, because in ancient ways, there was no labs and they had the person to fill the natural tactics to do the diagnosis. When you show your tongue, we have a different points of organs and we get to know your tongue. If your tongue is coated with white, it's a first sense that you're not digesting your food or you're not transforming your food well. I explained to you because the ama also works on a mental and conscious level. You might not able to comprehend the information. It's not just a senior movement. It could happen to any age. If the 10-year-old boy or a girl not eating properly, they either too fat or either too skinny, something's going on with them. They're not going to be able to learn joyfully. I would say learning is a movement, not just like 2:4. That the joy in learning, for them to understand and comprehend the concept, they need a better agni and better digestion, and that has its own importance. And definitely the joint ache. So imagine all kinds of raw symptoms where on a day-to-day life you face is a sign of that ama or that low agni or not having that agni presence in you. I hope that makes sense. Everybody's kind of, I'm hungry, can I go? And this, once you learn all these discomfort signs and everything, what will happen is you will know, like when you drive a car on highway, suddenly you get a notification, check engine, or you get gas is running low. What you do? You just go to the gas station, you fill it up, or you fill the air in your tire, or you take care of that particular notification. On your dashboard, you will get a notification. I am this Prakriti. I am what make my car is. Not every car is make same way.
Now we are at the most crucial part of today's masterclass. What are the causes of compromised metabolism, and what routines bring about healthy metabolism.
If you've been in the Ayurveda world, you may take these for granted, but if you're new to it, you might go, oh, wow, okay, this is really interesting.
These are some common mistakes we make that compromise metabolism. Having exposure to qualities in our food and lifestyle that cause an excess of the qualities of our predominant dosha. Here are some examples of the top habits I see in my clinical practice that cause imbalance for each one of the doshas, leading to compromised metabolism. A vata predominant person who eats dry, cold, and raw
A vegan diet
and has an irregular daily schedule with skipping meals and eating meals at different times every day, or grazing.
Eating too little or not frequently enough. If we aren't eating enough, or when our hunger signals are telling us to eat, then our Agni just kind of gives up. It goes to sleep. Like, okay, you're ignoring me, so I will ignore you.
A surprising metabolism tip here may be that people with a vata constitution may actually overdo daily activities, have excess caffeine, and have so much stress and worry that it puts out their metabolism, lowers their appetite, slows down digestion, and actually experiences weight gain due to too much cortisol. The weight gain may not happen till after perimenopause and may come as a big surprise to those who have always been thin and never had that spare tire. A pitta predominant person who eats a lot of spicy peppers, works too hard, stays awake too late, and wakes up too early. The typical surprise here is that people with a pitta constitution seem to be able to eat anything and everything whenever they want and not gain weight. As we age, however, Agni tends to slow down, and these people too may notice in middle age and beyond that they may not be able to binge all they want as they once did. These people always need to take care to actually calm their metabolic fire down so that the Agni doesn't metabolize their tissues, leading to imbalances of deficiency such as anemia, low blood sugar, emaciation, loss of strength, etc. Unchecked pitta leads to burnout. A kapha predominant person who leads a sedentary lifestyle and eats in excess of heavy foods such as meat and fried foods. Something that I've seen a lot in clinical practice is that people who are overweight or obese are not always kapha predominant people by nature. Instead, they are vata or pitta predominant, masquerading as a kapha. Proper assessment is necessary in order to know which nutrition and herbs are most helpful. Theoretically, heating spices like ginger, cinnamon, and black pepper help ignite kapha imbalanced Agni. However, I have had many clients who were overweight and have a lot of natural pitta report that the spice mix I have given them gives them diarrhea. In this case of a person with near equal portions of kapha and pitta, there is a great hack that will make both better. It is food that is predominant in a certain taste. Does anyone know what that is? What are some examples of these foods? The answer is the bitter taste, and this is going to be present in dark leafy greens such as collard greens, Swiss chard, kale, etc. Here are some other common practices to avoid if we want to have optimal digestion, metabolism, absorption, and utilization of nutrients from our food. Avoid multitasking while eating.
That causes disruption in Agni because your Agni is trying to digest food and it doesn't need to be digesting the latest news and the fights. It doesn't need to be digesting all of that. We need to just be digesting our food and really be present with that and chew and bless our food and have mindfulness around that.
Experiment with eating without any distractions, and you will see this simple step practiced religiously can slowly or quickly resolve even serious digestive ailments such as chronic IBS. Eating too little or not frequently enough. When we don't eat enough, our metabolism gives up on waiting for us to eat. Occasional light fasting is recommended in Ayurveda, but the frequent intermittent fasting craze is not. If you are doing intermittent fasting and seeing good results from it, Try skipping dinner instead of breakfast. Our Agni syncs up with the sun cycle, so eating past dark is not helpful. My clients have gotten much quicker results with intermittent fasting if they skip dinner. By the same reasoning, eating midnight snacks is not helpful. Overeating is another problem.
It's just like throwing a bunch of logs all at once on the campfire, and it'll just put it right out.
The classical texts specify that the ideal portion of food is what can be contained within your hands when they are cupped together. One of our students said that she's trying to grow the size of her hands so that she can eat larger portions. Eating before the previous meal is digested is another problem. This is like adding uncooked rice to a pot of rice that is halfway done.
At the end of that process, you're going to have some kernels that are cooked and some that are not. And that is challenging to the Agni.
Drinking cold drinks and eating frozen, cold, and raw food is detrimental to Agni. Eating breakfast before brushing your teeth and tongue scraping.
That's a personal, like, oh my gosh, if I see my kids do that, which I hope they don't anymore, or, you know, if I'm like having a camp out with people who don't know about Ayurveda and I see them eating before they've done their oral care in the morning, I'm like, no, you got to scrape all the stuff off that's tried to get out while you were sleeping.
Eating and then taking a shower.
You want to take your shower first because that's going to kindle your Agni, and then eat after you've showered. When you eat and then shower, your Agni gets confused. It's like, am I digesting my food or am I regulating my body temperature? What's going on here? So take your shower first. It'll get all of your pores open and cleaned out. If you haven't had your bowel movement already, it'll help that process. It gets everything circulating so that when you eat, your food circulates well through your digestive tract and gets absorbed.
Eating while in a state of stress, anger, or other negative emotions. Eating poor food combinations.
There's a whole science around food combining in Ayurveda.
One example for me is mixing raw fruit with grains. This makes me feel like there's fermentation in my gut and gives me bloating and smelly gas. Having foods that are not seasonally appropriate, like ice cream in the wintertime
or on a rainy, cloudy day,
is also a cause for extinguished Agni.
So those are some things you're not going to find if you Google metabolism without the Ayurvedic perspective there. And that's where we can see clients come in who are like, I'm so healthy. I eat everything right. I do everything right. Why do I have this chronic illness? They haven't found that peace. They think veganism is good for everybody, and it's not necessarily good for everybody, or eating lots of meat is good for everybody. There's no one diet that's good for everybody, according to Ayurveda.
I gave you all an example that you want to ignite your car and then everything goes very smooth. So you want to learn how to kindle your Agni. What are the basic beautiful ways how to keep your digestion metabolism into balance? It's not a rocket science, first of all. But second of all, I would say before I could give you that advice is don't quote ourselves, because in Ayurveda, we can't quote you without knowing your Prakriti, without knowing what's going on with you. So these are very generic suggestions. You don't try to put every ignite together. You add a slow and very tender and very beautiful way of that fuel to ignite. And once a small ignition happens, what you do is you kind of protect that.
Okay, everyone, we ran out of time during the webinar to really talk about the 5 golden secrets, which is the whole point of this presentation. So I am going to share those with you now. It's after hours, my husband's asleep, and it's a great time to share secrets, okay? We've finally come to the part where we'll give you the solutions to your problems. Listen carefully to these 5 golden secrets of Ayurveda. This is a proven and time-tested formula for robust metabolism. I see social media presentations like this, and it always ends up with something like, just take this one supplement and it will fix all of your issues. Ayurveda takes a much more comprehensive approach that cultivates healing at the deepest level. It has worked for people for thousands of years, and it will work for you too. How is that for evidence-based? To help you remember the 5 golden secrets, think of the phrase, do it with faith. Use the acronym DITFE: diagnose, ignite, transform, fuel, and energize. Let's look at the first one, diagnose. Think of when your car needs repair and you take it in, and the first thing the mechanic performs is diagnostic. Before making the repairs, they have to find out what needs fixing. Before you make your ignite plan, you must first assess your natural state of the doshas, your current state of the doshas, and which doshas are imbalanced, as indicated by any significant symptoms you are experiencing, such as digestive troubles, lack of energy, brain fog, insomnia, weight gain, headaches, weight loss, etc. You have to know your state of Agni, whether it's high, low, irregular, or balanced. You also have to measure the signs of toxins and make a note so you can track your progress. Congratulations if you have balanced Agni and no signs of toxins and no significant symptoms. This means that you are not human. A crucial part also of diagnostics is to determine the causative factors for imbalance. The first step in adopting an Ayurvedic program is to remove the causes that are under our control. This can be challenging, and it's helpful to have a cheerleader and ignore anyone, including yourself, who tries to sabotage you by putting up obstacles for your evolution. Negating the causes will stop the ama factory and rebalance your doshas. So if you are in a state of disease, it will stop the disease progression in its tracks. So very good. Keep it simple. Review the nutritional and lifestyle things that compromise Agni and address 1 or 2 of the main ones that most apply to you. For example, it's very important to eat your meals at the same time every day. And this is a very common problem that people create with their Agni. And so I just wanted to mention that in case that applies to you. But of course, you want to find the factors that are most applicable. Know the contraindications for detoxing. Detoxing when you are in a state of depletion, pregnant, breastfeeding, elderly, emaciated, or otherwise in a weakened state is a bad idea. If you have any doubt, please ask an Ayurvedic professional. That's our D. Next is our I. Ignite. Ignite your Agni by taking a digestive spice mix before each meal. Remember that ama is sticky and stubborn. Imagine a car grease spill in your garage. Can you get that off by wiping it with a dry paper towel? No. This will only spread the grease to a larger area and make the problem worse. You have to let it soak with Coca-Cola, Dawn dish soap, toothpaste, vinegar, and all of the other grease cutting tricks. Then you have to rinse it with boiling water. Digestive spices taken with water that has been boiled is like the Coca-Cola mixture. Using senna leaf or detoxes in a box that flush your intestines before you have digested the ama on site doesn't work, and it can cause damage. According to Ayurveda, this is the #1 detox mistake people make. At best, they may feel better while they are detoxing and then return to status quo as soon as the detox is over. At worst, they can smear the sludgy, rotten ama into other sites and cause a detox crisis, triggering flu-like symptoms, skin outbreaks, and a long-term worsening of the original symptoms. Here are the traditional spice mixes used for each type of Agni. For high Agni mixed with ama, cinnamon, cardamom, and bay. This is called Trijata, which means 3 fibrous plants. And for high Agni with no signs of toxins, use cumin, coriander, and fennel. This one is nicknamed CCF, and it calms excess pitta or heat that drives hypermetabolism. For low Agni, use ginger, black pepper, and pipali, which is Indian long pepper. This is called Trikatu, or the three pungents. This mixture helps digest the heavy things we love, like butter and cheese. For irregular Agni, use the spice mix called Hingvastika Churna. You can find this online from a variety of stores, but these products are not made correctly because you are supposed to saute the hing, also known as asafoetida, in ghee to neutralize the sulfur compounds before mixing it with other spices. Contact me for a hot tip on where to get the best Hingvastika Churna. And what you'll do is you'll take a quarter to a half teaspoon spice mix in water that's been boiled, and you'll take this 20 minutes before you eat. This kindles your Agni so you can digest your food well. Appropriate doses vary from person to person. It can take anywhere from 4 days to a month or more for this to be effective. You will know when this is working because you will observe a reduction in the signs of Ama, you will feel light and energized, and you will achieve the gold standard of poop. If you overdo this step, you will have loose and frequent stools and signs of excess heat, like feeling, well, too hot. The third golden secret is transform. Transform the ingredients from your food into nutrients that provide you glowing energy. For this, colonies of beneficial gut microbes have your back. According to Google AI, the microbiome's genetic and biochemical composition influences the metabolic activities in the gut, which in turn affects the body's metabolic, immune, and nervous systems. The microbiome plays a role in metabolizing nutrients like vitamins, lipids, amino acids, and indigestible polysaccharides. Additionally, the gut microbiome produces neurotransmitters, hormones, and metabolites that affect the brain and the body. For example, the gut microbiome produces serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, and GABA. A little bit later, I am going to read a quote from the Charaka Samhita, which very much demonstrates that the ancients understood the gut-brain connection, or even the gut-mind connection, or even the gut-spirit connection. The analogy of the grease spot doesn't entirely equate to human physiology because our garage floor does not have any internal Agni or gut microbiome. It's interesting to note here, however, that communities of microbes, including bacteria and fungi, are used to clean up commercial oil spills. The number one probiotic used in Ayurveda is called Takra. This is the real buttermilk from making cultured cream yogurt and separating it into butter and buttermilk. I have an instructional video on how to make this. It takes a lot of time, but it's so worth it when you consider that our gut microflora are sacred living beings that are literally keeping us alive from one breath to the next. The benefits of Takra are written in the digestive disorders chapter in Charaka Samhita. I have seen people heal from serious digestive illnesses like severe IBS by incorporating Takra. It jumpstarts the remodeling of the gut lining. Nowadays, you can just buy full-fat yogurt and dilute it with water, 1 part yogurt to 4 parts water. Put it in your blender for 5 minutes to lighten it up. Skim the foam off the top, put it in a glass, and add a few cilantro or mint leaves, a pinch of toasted cumin seeds, and a shake of salt. Sip a 1/4 cup of this every day at lunch and join the millions of people around the globe who sip thin, non-sugary probiotic drinks on the daily. If dairy yogurt doesn't suit you, use the probiotics that you know work for you. The fourth secret is fuel. Fuel your fire with individualized nutrition. Another mistake people make when they feel toxic is to fast without any plan for fanning the metabolic flame. Agni is like any other fire that actually needs to be fed in order to be perpetuated. In Ayurveda, we recommend fasting for only a short period of time and not too frequently when it is appropriate. Then follow a light meal plan called a mono diet while simultaneously kindling with spices and takra. You can DIY this by figuring out your constitution and looking up recipes on the internet that are balancing for you. You can also purchase an Ayurvedic cookbook. I recommend Divya Alter's cookbook, The Joy of Balance. The key is to eat foods that are high in prana or life force and not dead or dumb foods such as microwaved food, leftovers, and fast food. Check in with your food before you eat it and ask the question, do I want to feel how you look? Finally, number 5, energize with daily self-care routines. Wake up each morning with the sun and generate feelings of gratitude and love for yourself and the gift of life. Do your oral care first thing after getting out of bed. Use a metal tongue scraper. Brushing your tongue does not get the goo off. You'll see when you scrape. As your metabolism works while you sleep, it pushes leftover materials toward exit sites of the body, such as your mouth, anus, nose, skin pores, eyes, and ears. We want to support that process by clearing these metabolites from the exit sites. By the way, the gunk that comes off the tongue is not ama. Ama is the coating that remains on the tongue even after you scrape, and this is more proof that we have to use digestive spices to incinerate the ama. Boil water in the morning and sip it throughout the day. This is like pouring boiling water down your sink drains. It helps melt the ama and heavy doshas, so it's easier for the spices to ignite your agni and burn the ama. Train yourself to have a morning bowel movement. Sit on the toilet without straining for 5 minutes and tell your body it's time to go. Using coffee to stimulate a bowel movement works in the moment but creates dependency as well as dryness in the colon. Also, use a squatty potty or do what I and millions of other people around the world do and go ahead and squat on the toilet seat. This is the correct pooping posture that allows for more complete and easy bowel movements. Shower before breakfast. This helps clean the body's drains that I was talking about. The skin pores are portals that connect to bigger and bigger channels that all lead to the digestive tract. So dilating them with the contact with warm water clears them, allowing for freedom of circulation all over the body. This ensures that the agni is firing on all cylinders. In this same vein, going on walks every day will also help to keep circulation going and stoke your agni. Practice mindfulness for stress reduction, such as daily conscious breathing and or meditation. Stress wreaks havoc on Agni and impairs every aspect of digestion. Learning to self-regulate to avoid unnecessary fight or flight and dwell in the rest and digest mode is a huge favor we can do for our metabolism. Eat breakfast and lunch 20 minutes after taking your spice mix and skip dinner or have a small amount of fresh vegetable soup. So that's it. Pick 2 or 3 things from this list of recommendations and work on them for the next couple of weeks and you'll really start to feel a difference. Okay, so remember, do it with faith. Dit Fei. Diagnose the doshas, agni, and causes. Ignite with boiled water and a spice mix. Transform your microbiome with takra. Fuel with high prana food. And energize with channel clearing and calming daily routines.
I want to share this quote from the Charaka Samhita on the sacredness of Agni. Paying due consideration to the quantity and time, a self-controlled person should regularly take such useful food and drinks as are conducive to the internal power of digestion, including metabolism. Like an ahitagni, a person who performs ceremonial offerings, who takes diet conducive to the power of digestion, being aware of the wholesomeness of food and drinks, who resort to meditation on Brahman, and performs charitable acts, enjoys the blessing of living without any disease during the present as well as future. Such great words. Agni is so much more than metabolism. In another section in the Charaka Samhita, in fact, the chapter on digestive diseases states the effects of functional Agni. You'll see that the effects are far beyond mere health of the body.
It is apparent that the ancients were onto the idea of the gut-brain axis, that the health of our digestion is linked to how well our brain functions. Healthy metabolism doesn't just maximize our cognitive functions, but also our emotional and spiritual well-being. The quote is this: Deha Agni, or Jatara Agni, the Agni that we've been talking about today, is the reason for being of Ayu, which is life and longevity, Varna, which is color, Bala, which is strength, Svastha, which is health, Utsaha, which is enthusiasm and motivation, Upachaya, or normal growth of the tissues, Prabha, or glow of the complexion, Ojas, or a good immune system. So Agni is directly related to our ability to prevent and fight off disease. Tejas, which is the normal heat or temperature of the body, Agneya, which are other varieties of fires throughout the body, which I mentioned is related to the endocrine system. And finally, prana, which is life force.
You'll have the force. The force will be with you, right? Like Luke Skywalker.
He goes on to say, extinction of Jatar Agni leads to death. Its proper maintenance helps a person to live a long life, and its impairment gives rise to diseases. Therefore, Jatar Agni is considered to be the root or the most important sustaining factor of living beings. So I want to ask you, is your check engine light on? Are you or your loved ones choking on your exhaust fumes? Do you need a smog check and an oil change? Actually, I do need to take my car in, it turns out. Would you ignore your car's check engine light, or worse, wait till you have a breakdown? I'm sure you would agree that you are more important than your car. Unfortunately, I see myself and others repeatedly overriding the body and mind's pleas for help. How much time do you spend when you take your car for repairs? Please value your health enough to take a fraction of that time to compassionately look under your hood. Dr. Dhanada and I have just the body, mind, spirit shop for you. We are the dynamic East meets West duo offering our first ever live online introduction to Ayurveda course called Ignite. We promise to spark your motivation to look under your hood. We will teach you how Ayurveda helps us prepare and maintain our vehicle performance and even take it to the next level. Let us demonstrate to you the massive difference it makes to have dynamic, fun, and loving cheerleaders. In this 10-week class, we provide a step-by-step process for you, and by the end, you will have the skills to diagnose your doshas and your Ayurvedic constitution, your unique Agni thumbprint and causes for imbalance, ignite your metabolism using boiled water and a personalized spice mix, transform your microbiome into a flourishing source of immunity and hormone balance using a drink called Takra, fuel your body and your soul with high prana food that incorporates all 6 tastes, energize with channel clearing and calming daily routines that jumpstart joy in your life. This is a precious and rare opportunity to interact with us live for the Ignite Introduction to Ayurveda class because we will be busy in the new year running our larger Ayurvedic Health Counselor and Ayurvedic Practitioner Professional Certification programs. Registration for Ignite closes on Thursday, September 19th at midnight. Class runs for 10 weeks on Fridays from 2:30 to 4 p.m. Central, September 20th through November 22nd. Recordings are available for those who cannot attend live. The cost is $550 for early birds who register by midnight Wednesday, September 18th, and $700 after Wednesday at midnight. Registration closes on Thursday at midnight sharp. Opt for an upgrade to work with me and Dr. Dhanada individually during the course. This includes a 75-minute Zoom appointment, a personalized nutrition and daily routine plan, and a customized spice mix, herbal tea, and herbal formula if necessary. The total cost is $750 for early birds who register by midnight Wednesday, September 19th, or $900 after Wednesday at midnight. 1-hour follow-up appointments are available for an additional $75. We will have a group me chat so you can interact with us and your classmates during the week and share your misfires and your wins. Say yes to loving your sacred vehicle by clicking the registration link to enroll now.
Thanks for joining the Ignite webinar. It was a great success. Many of you joined and hundreds of you registered. The summary of Ayurveda's Agni concept is beyond metabolism, as reminded in a beautiful mantra of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 14. Shri Krishna is the narrator. I want you to really have that blessing coming from that verse. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashrita Pranapana Samayukta Pachamanyam Chaturvidam. It says, Shri Krishna says that it is I who take the form of the fire of digestion in the stomachs of all living beings and combine with the incoming and outgoing breath, which is your prana, and then digest the food of the 4 different types. Divine existence is inside you as the power of hunger or appetite, and also it is living being characteristics. That is why he called it a Vaishwanara, the fire of digestion that is being ignited by the power of divine or the power of God. Somebody asked about the prana and agni. So it's a cultivation and categorizing by where the energy comes from, that spark in you. And remember at the beginning where Patricia said all the galaxies and the glitters are fire that is coming out of you. Oh, it's a beautiful verse. And that is why we say that fire, that ignition, that spark, if that is not in you, you are not alive, because the divine presence in yourself is Agni. So it is not just the metabolism. There you go, Patricia. Yeah, I love it. All the glitters. Okay. Any questions?
You have such a beautiful voice, Dhanada. I can't wait to hear more. So beautiful.
Thank you so much. We would love to keep sharing our knowledge. We are really seeing the spark. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Dhanada. This has been so wonderful. And thank you to everybody who came. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.